we created our own traditions since we met. And really that was when we met was kind of the line in the sand of we're never going back to old world.
Yeah.
And we've gone back a few times for a minute or two, a day or two, a week or two, but we've always just catapulted back into the future and into evolving, which needs to be done if we want to achieve our goals and dreams.
But there was this part that it was like, this isn't aligned to me, or I don't want to be here, or I don't want to do this anymore, right? And while you and I are all about doing the hard things, this isn't that. This is like, what is actually in alignment with your core values and who you aspire to be, your beliefs, your core values, and your core aspirations. Conscious couples, business partners, and individuals, welcome to the Conscious Couples podcast, where we share our life, love story, and relationship expertise to help you consistently cultivate the most magnificent relationship possible.
Never again will you feel hopeless and alone in your intimate relationship challenges. We'll help you have the courage to be your authentic self, communicate effectively, and constructively resolve conflict.
Having accumulated thousands of hours coaching, speaking, podcasting, and hosting live events with conscious couples all over the world, Alan and I are here to guide you in all things relationships.
Thank you again for tuning into the one place where it's not about you or me, it's about the we. Conscious couples and individuals, welcome back to another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. Today we have episode 200.
Woo! Celebration.
Nice. I did not expect that. Nice. Creating your own rulebook. We've talked in the past. If you've ever seen the movie Curse of the Black Pearl, Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Barbossa says the pirate's code is more like guidelines than actual rules. And I'll keep my Barbossa impression for myself. But ultimately, that's what we're going to talk about today, but in your relationship. Before I jump into this episode, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Next Level Podcast Solutions for producing this podcast and 80 plus others. Wild. Self-improvement, personal growth, personal development, self-help, spreading so much into the world that the world desperately needs in terms of conscientiousness and awareness. So thank you for doing that, because it's very important for all of us to live better lives and make the world a better place. Okay, sweetheart, so today's episode was your and my idea, but mostly yours. What is your intention?
My intention is for our dear listeners to have a path that we have opened up for them, where they walk down. And that path is ultimately doing things different, because we know how hard it is to do things different, to create your own rule book, especially when you have your family systems just doing what everyone always does all the time. And so my intention is to help shine a light on what that path can do when you and your partner really create your own rule book, and how magnificent it actually can be on the other side.
So you pulled up a photo of you and I last night, of me in a Santa onesie and you in a gingerbread green overalls.
Yeah.
Correct.
What an imagery
in front
for
of, in front of,
we'll have to
it's
throw
a
the
really,
photo.
Yeah, we'll have to throw the photo in the show notes. So check that out. And or up on YouTube. Throw that photo up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Production team. But that was a blast from the past, because that was when we first met. And you and I took a picture in front of a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
With me, you, and Tucker, and me in a Santa onesie, and you in the gingerbread cute overalls.
Ninja gingerbread overalls.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
they were
right.
Because they were like Muay Thai.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Muay Thai, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That was the holiday season 6 years ago. It's crazy.
Literally.
And we were so different back then.
We were always really different.
Yeah.
In hindsight, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
But when you're living it, it's not so much.
Well, not only were we different in our own unique ways, but I mean different compared to now.
Oh, I know.
So that photo is a representation of us in old world, what you refer to as old world. Can you take us through the digital asset that Evolve Ventures uses? I use this all the time with my clients.
Yeah.
Old world, Lonely Land, and then New World. It's this mountain that you climb, and we're all on that sort of hero's journey.
Yeah, and I want to bring this into a global experience that we've all had, which is COVID-19. So prior to COVID-19, a lot of us were spending our time in what we refer to in that digital asset, and we'll ask the production team to put on, which is referred to as Old World. So Old World is essentially what we more than likely always slip back into, especially around the holiday seasons and Q4. So the end of the year, we end up going back to old places. I remember being in college and coming back home for the holidays, and all of our high school friends would hang out. So we would go back into the old places, old people, old ideas, and old ways of thinking, not necessarily like old in terms of years, but just like people that you've outgrown and that you're kind of going back into for the sake of nostalgia, right? Yeah. And so Old World is what we all end up slipping back into during the holiday seasons if we're not careful and if we're not mindful. Now, when COVID-19 hit, so many of us were literally thrusted into what is called Lonely Land. And Lonely Land is this place where essentially you are having to go inwardly, you're having to think differently, you're having to do things differently, and you're starting to kind of realize like you're this own individual person, and you are trying to have your freedom of thought exercised. You're learning who you are at the deepest levels, and it can feel extremely isolating when you start to learn that you might be a little different than your family, when you start to learn that you might be a little bit different than your friends. Especially if you're an evolver or someone that is in this community, you would likely have goals, you likely have aspirations, and you find this tug of war between your goals and your aspirations and who you want to be, and the version of you that everyone loves while you're in Old World, that usually you've had to suppress while you're in Old World. So Lonely Land, a lot of us during COVID-19 just got, like I said, thrusted into that. And what happened for all of us, I want us thinking about this, what happened post COVID-19? Did we kind of emerge out of this chrysalis of being like kind of huddled indoors, this new person with new ideas, with new belief systems, with new realms of possibility? Or did we shudder in this, I like to think about the butterfly analogy. Did we shuttle in that chrysalis and then kind of kick out back into an inchworm, which means we went back into Old World. We went back to an old version of ourselves.
So everybody picture a caterpillar or an inchworm that goes into a cocoon.
Yeah.
So the caterpillar or the inchworm can't fly, and it's with its other caterpillar's buddies.
Yeah, that represents
its old family. That represents Old World.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Lonely Land is actually painful, and you can, I don't know, I haven't studied it, but isn't it painful for the caterpillar or the inchworm to be in the cocoon alone?
Eventually the caterpillar actually has to die in order to go and be a butterfly. So there's an actual, like,
great metaphor.
That's why metamorphosis is such a beautiful analogy, because once it was COVID-19, you had an option. Once the quote unquote doors went back open, you had the option to go back into your inchworm version of yourself, or to really emerge this beautiful new butterfly. And that's what we call New World. And so New World is committing to that version of you that you had to learn who the hell you were during COVID-19. And most people that emerged as a butterfly, they ended up really creating their own rule book, which is what you and I had done, which said, I'm not going to go back into my inchworm life, because inches are not something that I want to just completely live my life in, right? We are people who fly. And so flying after COVID-19 really looked like creating our own rule book with how we thought, the people that we hung out with, the people that we didn't spend time with, what family occasions and traditions we were like, I'm going to not ever go to again, because, you know, a past version of me just like hated that and never had the courage or the bravery to really break away and go fly. And so those who experience that kind of emergence into New World, it is more often than not very scary, because you look back, and like you and I were looking back on that photo, you look back and you realize like how much you've outgrown.
There's so much in that photo that you and I would never go back and do.
Yeah.
And it's not because we were wrong or bad. It's because we have grown.
Yeah.
We think differently. We believe different things. We understand the implications of things.
Yeah.
So I pictured this image when you were talking. Imagine a butterfly gets out of the cocoon and it's flying free and it's loving life. And then I pictured it flying over to a bunch of caterpillars and like having dinner. And that's how I feel. Honestly,
Yeah.
with the holidays.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about Old World, Lonely Land, New World, Caterpillar, Cocoon, Butterfly, and the family system. So you in Evolve Movie Club, if you are not in Evolve Movie Club and want to be, I've been at every single one. They're freaking awesome. The digital asset that was shared in Movie Club, you said you knew whose work it was. She was from the 1950s family system.
Yes. So actually, Bianca and I just released an episode that launched today. I'm going to send that to you. But it's about your family roles and what that says about you. And essentially, the digital asset that we shared in Movie Club was based off of Virginia Satter's work, who is known as the mother of family therapy.
Nice.
And her work originated in the 1950s. And essentially, she helped to give us language to the patterns of dysfunction that occur within families. And the patterns of dysfunction that occur within families is ultimately as a result of roles that we get assigned in a family system.
So the butterfly metaphor, imagine you're an inchworm during the holidays as a kid, and then you go into the cocoon, COVID-19, and then you emerge a butterfly. In this digital asset that we'll put in the show notes, when you go back to have dinner with the inchworms, for lack of better phrasing, you now slip back into that old role. So there's the chief enabler, there's the victim, there's the scapegoat, there's the lost child, there's all these different archetypes.
Yep.
And you can see these archetypes in film and in books and in the hero's journey and in your own family system as well. And so I think we have sort of a public-facing one, and then we have sort of a behind-the-scenes one. Obviously, we represent different ones of these, but download that digital asset and then try to figure out which one you were and who was who in your family. That one asset, when that was popped up in Movie Club, I was like, I'm going to use this. I've already used it 5 or 6 times since. Yeah, just to help my clients understand what role they were playing and what role they end up playing when they go back for the holidays. So,
well, that's the thing, when we talk about creating our own rule book, obviously right now we're recording this literally beginning of December. So the holiday season is that time where it is a invitation that I see it as 3 options. It's an invitation to do the same thing that family traditions have done forever.
And the reason why is comfort. It's just comfortable.
It's normal. It's comfortable. It's certain, right? If you have a family tradition, for example, my family had a family tradition of finding the pickle on the tree, which was a glass ornament that was on the tree that our family hid, what Santa hid when we were younger. And it was a competition to go find the pickle, and you would get a gift. And when as an adult did you decide, I'm not doing that anymore? I want to say it was around 23, I want to say. Yeah. But the reason why I decided is because of three options. You have the ability to just continuously create the same exact traditions and recreate the same things, which honestly, that's really beautiful. In certain families, they have beautiful traditions that they do that brings a lot of family systems comfort, that brings a lot of certainty. But then there's also a lot of traditions that actually, when you apply free thought and logical thought and contemplation, you realize a lot of that is anymore. It's not. A lot of them are actually really messed up. Yeah. I'll just put it bluntly. But seriously, that's invitation number 1.
Just think about it. Just everybody assess the traditions from where they came up, grew up, and try to think about how messed up some of them are. Right? And I'll give you one. Yeah. I read a book called, it was by Howard something. But it basically talked about Christopher Columbus and all of the atrocities. And it was, okay, now they call it Indigenous Peoples Day. They don't call it Christopher Columbus Day anymore? Or Columbus Day?
Yeah.
That's just one example of a tradition that just was rooted in something that's not good.
Or Valentine's Day. It's actually a murderous holiday. And why are we celebrating that? So invitations.
Everyone take a look at your own family system, pull up the digital asset, think about where you grew up, and really reassess what traditions you still agree with, which ones you want to evolve, and which ones were fucking terrible.
So the 3 invitations, essentially, that we all have is to continue to do the same thing that everyone in our family just does, which is very easy. It doesn't require any level of courage or being your own individual person or your own individual thoughts. So you just, okay, grandmother or grandpa says we do this for the holidays, we do this time of year, so let's just go and do that. Let's just appease. Then option number 2, you just say screw that, and you literally cut ties and you just go do your own thing. Awesome. Number 3 is the one that's exponentially more challenging, which is creating your own rule book and then trying to figure out how do we integrate the old with the new and more evolved. And because it's not just about the new, it's about us evolving. Why, for example, like as an adult, finding a pickle on the tree for a present, that when you really look at the origin of that, that's like, that has serious implications when we talk about like the reward system of the unconscious mind for a child.
Yeah.
So
real
to
quick,
that end,
I want to give some examples because a lot of this is theoretical. I want to go to practice.
Yep.
When you and I went to my Uncle Joe's funeral,
yeah,
and it was in the same church that my father's funeral was in,
yeah,
and I got to go back to Old World. The church hadn't changed at all.
not at all.
But now I'm a 35-year-old man. At the time, I'm 37 now. But I remember I would jump up and I'd ring the bell as a little kid, and the bell was huge and the church was huge, and now it's this rinky-dink little church and the bell is like this, you know?
Like
and
a pull string.
I realized in that church, and this is my truth, it's no longer aligned for me. I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course I want to honor my family and my uncle, but I don't want to go back to that church.
Yeah.
And we went back to the cemetery where my dad was buried, and it was a really powerful experience for me to go back as a butterfly to caterpillar land, for lack of better phrasing, and then to realize I'm never going back. And after that, I texted my aunt and I said, Emilia and I are actually not going to be coming to Easter next year.
Yeah.
We're going to create our own traditions from now on, and they're not going to be based on, you know, religion and that kind of thing. So,
or just like mindless droning of just repeating cycles just because no one cared to. And again, put in the legwork. Like you and I have created our own rule book, and that's looked like Books for Babes. That's looked like Next Level Hope Foundation. We'll talk about that in a second. But like that requires being different and creating your own rule book. I think a lot of people will never do that because it's so scary to do so. And there's a lot of questions there.
Sorry to interrupt you, we get villainized. You deal with this more than I do because you are the least likely to go back to Old World.
Yeah.
To anyone I've ever met. And Emilia hates going back. She wants to evolve forward, hates going back. And that actually forces and catalyzes growth, which is really good for someone who really wants to grow. And here's what I'll share with everybody. If you do have goals and dreams, you're going to have to grow toward them. You can't go back to Old World and back to ordinary and then live an extraordinary life. So you have to become a butterfly in order to achieve your dreams, metaphorically.
Yeah.
And I actually have been villainized in the past a lot from being the one who kind of opted out of a lot of those things.
Yeah.
And so it's scary to do that because a lot of people that are still in Old World, maybe that's fine for them, but maybe they don't have goals and dreams, or maybe they gave up on their goals and dreams. I know a lot of people from my past who have totally given up on their goals and dreams. And it's like, listen, and I've told Kevin, my business partner, I have to do this. I want it to be with you, but I'll do it alone if I have to. You have to decide for yourself whether or not you really want to come with me on this journey and everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
And let's not villainize each other. Let's just figure out and make a conscious choice. So go ahead.
Another analogy that I think anyone who's in this community and listening to this and is really clicking on this episode has likely had a moment or two that you mentioned a little bit earlier where you've just shown up to something because you've been told to or because you felt as though you had to.
Yeah.
But there was this part that it was like, this isn't aligned to me, or I don't want to be here, or I don't want to do this anymore, right? And while you and I are all about doing the hard things, this isn't that. This is like what is actually in alignment with your core values and who you aspire to be, your beliefs, your core values, and your core aspirations. And when you get into places, things, traditions, doing things just because your family or just because your social groups do a specific thing, which more often than not is organized by the person who is the most lonely and non-aspirational, by the way. I will say that.
Can you go a little bit deeper on that?
Yep. The person who organizes coming of together within family systems.
Within Old World.
Group dynamics within Old World are those who are actually the most insecure, the most lonely, the least amount of goals,
the least aspirational.
the least aspiration.
So they're the least likely to evolve. And they typically have a fixed mindset.
Yep.
And they are typically not free thinkers, right?
Yes. Okay. And as a result of their insecurities or lack of self-belief, they will likely villainize anyone that does create the rulebook.
And cling on to what they used to do.
Hence why it is really scary to enter into lonely land, which, by the way, COVID-19 doesn't have to catalyze that. That can literally just be you listening to this episode and saying, you know what, to your partner, you know what, babe, like, I'm kind of sick of going to Auntie Joe's house. Like, I just really don't like how they gather. Like, I've never really liked it. Like, why don't you and I do something different with the kids, right? Like, that can catalyze so much change that can actually create a runway, create a rule book that is something that actually lights you the hell up. Because the worst thing from my perspective for so many people is we go throughout life as mindless drones, as not actually contemplating, like, what is this tradition? What are the ways in which we're going about this? Like, why are we cooking this type of food? Like,
what do we value? What are our goals?
And just never contemplating that and what that does at a soul level. And I know, because I work with people behind the scenes in mental health, and you work behind the scenes with people in success, that etches away at our soul, because we have to literally jump into this quote unquote rowboat that goes to this destination, and then like completely put on these masks of who you are just to coexist with other people. And then you jump back into your like rowboat of going towards your goals and aspirations and who you aspire to be. And so it's kind of a disservice to both people.
I picture a caterpillar like taking their own wings and clipping them before they go to like have dinner, brutal. And then they have to regrow them back after. It feels brutal. Yeah, but that's such a good analogy. That's exactly how it feels.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think it does a disservice to both camps of people. Like it does a disservice obviously to you, because your soul is literally like crushing and suffocating while you go into a zone and an arena of doing things that is out of alignment and out of integrity with you. So you're breaking the promises to yourself, or you're living outside of alignment with who you are.
And you're holding back other people from the catalyst of potentially growing.
So to that end, you're doing a disservice to the people that you're going back to and not showing them the latest version of you, if you will, right? Because how difficult is it to go to a family setting and not go and sit back at the same place that you used to sit at since you were 6 years old, right? Like, it's so difficult.
The kids' table.
Yeah, the kids' table.
All right, the geriatric table's over there. All right, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, but it is, you and I have had to call some things out too, because it's like, no, we're not kids.
We're not children.
I'm a 37-year-old grown-ass man. Thank you. But it's hard for them not to slip back in the mom and dad role.
I can only imagine.
So download the digital asset in the show notes. We got to get out of here. Mm-hmm. The chief enabler, the victim, the family hero, the lost child, all of these things.
The mascot.
It's very hard not to slip back into those roles when you go back during the holidays. And I want to transition to Next Level Hope Foundation and Books for Babes. And we want to lead by example. We created our own traditions since we met. And really that was when we met was kind of the line in the sand of we're never going back to old world. Yeah. And we've gone back a few times for a minute or two, a day or two, a week or two, but we've always just catapulted back into the future and into evolving, which needs to be done if we want to achieve our goals and dreams. Right. And we want to lead by example as well. Right. So conscious couples, conscious individuals out there, at very least, take an action. Don't just listen to this passively. Take an action, sit down with your partner, and discuss this. Be honest about the things you can't stand that you guys are doing every year. Like, Emilia and I have had to have these discussions. Like, I don't want to go.
Yeah, because every single year there's so much what we've seen with other couples, and which is why we want to bring all this, and we like really feel compelled on our 200th episode to talk about this. You and I have created our own rule book. Yeah. You and I have done things differently, and that has given so many permission slips to so many conscious couples out there to actually do it differently for themselves. We were on a relationship talks coaching call with a client of ours who literally, like, we were asking them about the holidays, and it's like, all of what used to be a problem and a challenge, all of what they used to have to go outside of alignment to go and do with their families, like, now they're married and they don't have to do any of the things that they felt forced to do when they were younger versions of themselves. Sweetheart. But because of the fact that they created their own rule book, they took what we said seriously. We worked through that. We worked through the discomfort of doing things differently. And now they feel freedom to fly. They feel liberated.
So we have been coaching this couple for coming up on 3 years. Yeah. And This time last year, they were frazzled.
Yeah,
They
so
were
stressed out.
drama this, drama that, the deal, gifts, gifty bags, Secret Santa, the whole nine. This time we're like, what are we going to talk about? And they're just good.
They're good. There's no drama.
And
there's no stress. There's no overspending
unbelievable.
for people that you see once a year. It's
no
just,
overspending.
So many couples end up around this time of year just so stressed out and so like they end up sick. Alan and I haven't gotten sick for 6 years straight.
I know. Yeah. Hey.
6 years straight.
Strong work on that.
I don't know anyone else who does that. And why I say that, why I flex that is because of how we've designed our life, how we have created our own rule book. And our clients are less and less in that arena as well. So every single time of the year, you have the ability to do what's always been done, to get stressed out, to be overspending, to be overstimulated, to go outside of alignment, or you have the chance to do what on our 25 conscious love languages worksheet we have. I don't remember what number it is, but it's philanthropy, right? You have the ability to do things different. And Alan and I always felt that this time of the year, we are so privileged. We are ridiculously privileged as human beings. Mm-hmm. And every single year it was, why are we just sitting back when there's so many people having
each other that we don't need?
Right.
I'm an adult now. If I wanted something, I would buy it.
I would buy
Please
it.
don't get me any more gifts.
Right.
I don't need it. Real quick, so let's talk about Next Level Hope Foundation. Let's talk about Books for Babes.
That's where that inspiration came from. Yeah, we got to jump in 2 minutes. Okay.
Awesome.
But that's where that inspiration came from, because at the end of the year, we were just doing things that are always done. And as humans in this world that can really make a difference in this world, we decided like no longer will we be doing that. So we created Books for Babes. You created Next Level Hope Foundation, which for Books for Babes, for me, it was, okay, around this time of year, there's a lot of children. There's a lot of underprivileged youth. There's a lot of organizations that are trying to create a meaningful moment for people that barely have any money just to clothe their children. And Books for Babes is a cause that tackles the illiteracy rate, which is in America, 739 million adults are barely literate.
So the stat recently that we looked up is 50% of the United States has a below 8th grade reading level.
It is absolutely brutal.
So let's talk about Books for Babes. I don't want to focus on the Next Level Hope Foundation right now, but both Next Level Hope Foundation and Books for Babes GoFundMes will be in the chats. We're raising modest amounts. We've both already donated. Yeah. You and I last night went and bought books. We have a huge bin of used books, and I say used because secondhand books. I don't mean used bad. I mean used that we're not. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And they're amazing. So we've done this every year for coming up on 5 or 6 years. 5 years?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Talk about Books for Babes, and then we got to get out of here.
Okay. So Books for Babes, essentially, like that is the catalyst. We decided we wanted to do things differently. And around this time of year, I am not someone who's going to go show up to the family traditions just because that's what we've always done. I'm going to instead have an open eye towards all the people, the underprivileged children, the underprivileged youth, those who barely have anything, and put a book in their hands to help inspire them to have an impact in the world in the future. Can you talk
about the books that you had growing up briefly?
So the books where this originally came from was, there was this family, the Walmsley family, that would donate to our family. At the time, my father was an entrepreneur. We didn't have a ton of money coming in, and despite what my dad wants to tell us, we were on the struggle bus because at that time it was, not, and at that time, granted, something about Christmas, people are like, if Christmas is good, then that means the whole year was made up for. And so anyways, long story short, Mr. Walmsley and Mrs. Walmsley donated pop-up books, and that just inspired so much of my love for reading. So when you were a kid,
you loved it.
I loved the pop-up books. And so that inspiration led to so much of who I am today. And books for me have helped me change the world at the level that I have. And so if I can put a book in the hands of someone who has nothing, imagine what is possible to the world. Yeah. And so that's what you and I have contributed to every single year. We cart around these books to people that have nothing, and just the joy on the faces that strangers care it goes beyond what words can describe.
Okay, before we go, you told me this last year or the year before, you said you saw the kids' faces when you brought the books. Yeah.
Oh,
can you
so
share
cute.
that briefly?
Is this Books for Babes? It was like, oh. I wanted to just go into a puddle. But yeah, so it's now become something that because of the generous contributions of everyone that has decided to do things differently, it has changed over, on average per year, it is over 1,300 children whose lives changed. So it's becoming a thing now. So we have big shoes to fill this year. And I'm so grateful to be able to create my own rule book with my honey and doing meaningful things that, quite frankly, so many of us sit around and do nothing about.
Yeah, that is not okay. So contribute, please. If we don't care if it's $5 or $500, the GoFundMe will be in the show notes. Thank you so much. Emilia and I both fell asleep to reading books last night, and we added to our library last night as well from the used bookstore, which I'm super pumped about. Yeah. But I can't even imagine my life without reading. Yeah. I can't imagine my life without books. I think it's alarming how few people read books. So let's make sure that we get smarter every day. And thank you all for listening. We appreciate it. Okay, so we have Relationship Talks Coaching. If you want to break free of old world and be the butterflies of the new world through, yes, lonely land with us, and the cocoon, and the pain, and the struggle, and the sacrifice, Relationship Talks Coaching is the way. We will help you through that. We are helping so many couples. As a matter of fact, Relationship Talks Coaching has kind of taken off lately. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We have an event coming up, love. The top 3 things men struggle with in their relationship is our next event. So please join us there. The link to register in the show notes. We have heard time and time again from men, and men in particular. We don't know how to do this. We don't know how to do that. And ultimately, like, men need help. Men struggle in relationships and they need support. And so join us in that Relationship Talks event so that you two can grow together, not apart and not alone. And we look forward to being able to bring a ton of goodies to what we ultimately see men struggling with in their relationship. The top 3 things men struggle with: emotional vulnerability 3 times. I'm joking. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. As always, it's not about you or me. It's about the we. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. We love connecting with the Conscious Couples community, so please check the show notes to connect with us and say hello on social media.
If you and your partner resonated with this episode, please leave us a 5-star review at the link in the show notes and share this with someone you love. Until next time, it's not about you or me, it's about the we. We'll talk to you next time.